Also new at 5, a former law enforcement official could find himself in hot water now that 2 former firefighters have been sentenced for illegal gambling. This case has taken a major turn, and it centers around a former sergeant with the Genesee County Sheriff's Office.
A private investigator says the proof is on paper. News 4's George Rickard brings us the very latest tonight. George?
That's right. Well, we have the 3 men who admitted to gambling. We have the lead investigator who busted them. And now we have a well-respected private eye who is raising some serious questions about that lead investigator.
There'll be other things brought out.
Greg Phillips and former Batavia City firefighter Brian Bordenaro, along with Lance Engel, were all sentenced today to 13 weekends of public service work and 3 years probation after admitting to a misdemeanor charge of taking bets on sporting events. But the bigger story here is how the lead investigator in the case, former Genesee County Sheriff Sergeant Stephen Mullen, may have been placing his own bets with these guys years before he busted them. That's according to a private investigation. Retired Erie County Undersheriff Richard Donovan was hired by the accused gamblers, and he discovered that a few years before the investigation began, Mullen made 47 phone calls to one of the defendants. These calls are proof that the investigating officer and his brother were both placing bets with one of the co-defendants, according to investigator Donovan.
I'm not going to comment on anything to do with the sheriff's office or Sergeant Mullen or the investigation. You know, we came to what we felt was an appropriate disposition of the case.
They're both professionals. I assume I have no reason to believe they didn't do their job appropriately.
We do know that the DA and the sheriff were made aware of this private investigation last June, but Sergeant Mullen stayed on the department until December, when he happened to retire within days of a plea agreement in this gambling case. It was Mullen who actually signed the affidavit on the search warrant in the case. Now the admitted gamblers may file a civil case over this possible conflict of interest. Do you think your civil rights were violated in this case?
That will be for another jury to decide.